Hey guys, Adrian from DigitalDojos.com. Today we're going to be talking about the Samsung Galaxy S4, the latest flagship release by Samsung. And I'm not really going to be talking about a recap of the event because if you were unfortunate enough to catch the event, you know how that went. It was a presentation that, in my opinion, was really flashy, really corny, really embarrassing on Samsung's part. It was a presentation. I understand the angle they were coming from. They were kind of trying to show the phone and its features in real world scenarios. It was just really bad. It was like a Broadway musical with a whole bunch of actors in it. And it was so bad that you didn't really get to focus on the presentation and the features of the phone itself. So, in my opinion, overall, it was bad. I usually recommend watching like the full keynote or whatever when it comes to these things, like an Apple keynote or something. But in this situation, I'd even recommend you go watching some other popular YouTuber who was at the event to recap it, or these top blogs like The Verge and stuff like that to get their kind of overview of the event. I'm going to be writing up my own little thoughts about the Galaxy S4 at digitaldojos.com. I'll leave the link in the video description. This video will accompany that post, but not really a recap of the event because, again, it was just in my opinion, a total embarrassment. Anyways, the Samsung Galaxy S4, it is the flagship Android phone. It's updated from the previous model, the Samsung Galaxy S3. The S4 has not been, price hasn't been determined yet. It will be coming out later this year. It will be premiumly priced, a lot of people are saying. But yeah, this is supposed to be the new flagship phone of Android. And what is a Samsung Galaxy S4 sporting? Well, tech specs wise, let's go ahead and take a look at it. The design, it's the same kind of concept from that of the S3. It looks exactly the same. It has this new bigger screen, 5 inches now, 5-inch Super AMOLED LED display. The screen looks gorgeous, but the size, I haven't been a huge fan of this new, huge screen movement. And like I said, in the Note and the Samsung Galaxy S3, I've seen those and I've tested some of them. I've used them, but like I said, I haven't carried it from a day-to-day thing. I use iOS primarily because it fits in my ecosystem, and not only that, aligned to my work requires me to work with iOS app developers, so I have to have an iOS device. That said, I think the bigger screen is something that you do need to get used to. It's something that a lot of people doubt, but when they use it, they really find how they tend to like it and all that. But I think in this case, the S4 might just be that much more bigger. It's bigger than the S3, and the S3, in my opinion, is kind of pushing it. But again, maybe you can get used to it. I just don't see myself carrying around a 5-inch screen, again, all around and all that in my pocket. But who knows? A lot of people will probably like it. I think the screen itself looks great, and looking at the resolution, I wrote up a blog post on the quick specs here. So it's a 1920 by 1080 screen resolution. It features a pixels per inch of 441 ppi pixels per inch. The CPU is going to be depending on the market or your region, I should say. So you can have the Qualcomm Snapdragon Fusion Pro. That's the 1.9 gigahertz quad core processor, or you'll get the Samsung Exynos 5 Octa processor that is clocked at 1.6 gigahertz quad core. The weight comes in at 4.59 ounces, I believe, and the battery is a 2,600 milliamp battery. So it's an improved battery and definitely needed because it has a lot of great stuff going on. Great and, kind of balance of stuff going on the software end. So again, the hardware, it's faster, all the typical stuff you're expected to see in a phone upgrade. Looking at the technology now, the software they built into the actual phone, they released a whole bunch of features that, in my opinion, were just gimmicky. I mean, again, this is my own personal opinion, but they introduced a couple of stuff. I'm just using as an example. They implement something called like air gesture, which basically is this Minority Report style gesture where basically you don't have to touch the screen. You just kind of hover like this above, and I guess it uses a camera or something, a sensor to kind of swipe photos. So you can swipe photos left or right, or anything of that sort, just by doing a gesture like that. Now, even closer, you can do something called a hover touch, which is kind of like you just hover over the screen, you don't even touch it, and you see a lot of people showing in the video. They literally go like that, and it kind of like opens up a dialog box or something like that, as if you were just kind of putting your finger on the thing and holding it. And again, it's really gimmicky. I feel like a lot of these features, and I've seen a ton of comments from people on how there are things you're only going to use a couple times and you'll probably forget about it. Or I watched this keynote with my good friend Duncan Mail, and he mentioned like it's one of those things you're going to show people and showcase to people like, hey, this is really cool, and then you'll forget about it. You won't use it. That's probably the one time you'll talk about it. Again, and then you'll have those people who really swear by it and love it. It's kind of like Siri. I use Siri a lot when I first got it to set alarms and do all this crazy stuff, and then more and more I just never use it because, in my opinion, it's not really at that level of a true assistant, sort of like Google Now is. I'd love to see that implemented on the iPhone. Anyways, So yeah, AirTouch, Air Gesture. It also released things like S Health, which is a new built-in application revolved around fitness and health. It built-in pedometer, counting calories. You can use a Bluetooth device to measure your heart rate and all of that. So that's kind of cool. It's building in all these cool little apps into the actual operating system, and it's a nice little thing to have. A small utility built into the phone, which may go a long way for a lot of people. Has Group Play, another thing called Group Play, which allows you to share photos and sync music, so all of your friends around you who have the same device or relatively the same devices can all play one song at the same time. Again, a really gimmicky feature that I don't think the majority of people will use. It also has an IR blaster, and you're saying IR technology. I know a lot of people don't like IR technology. That's infrared technology that requires a line of sight like your remote, and it allows your Galaxy S4 to do exactly that, act as a remote. We've seen these applications before. Basically, you can use your Galaxy S4 as a remote for your television, and you can act as a TV guide to see what's on, and you can kind of go through the programs all on your S4. Again, a cool feature, but it's definitely something that's been out on a lot of smartphones from Android to iOS. But again, maybe something that you may be interested in. So those are just some of the things that stuck out to me. On the side note of the Galaxy S4, going on further about it, it feels like a lot of people are comparing it to that of the Apple strategy, the TikTok strategy. You kind of have the 3G, then the 3GS. You have the 4, then you have the 4S. This kind of incremental upgrade where you're not changing the whole phone design. You're just changing the internal specs and all of that. And one of the big things I forgot to mention in the S4 that was upgraded, and the majority of the things that a lot of people were talking about, was the camera. The camera got all these great upgrades. It shoots 1080p, 60 frames per second, all of that stuff. Has really good quality. Has like a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, but it has all these great features on the software end where you can do. Again, I keep on using the word gimmicky, but that's really how it feels like. You have these features like where you can shoot a rear-facing camera while seeing yourself in this little stamp in the internal camera. So ideally, for like if you're shooting a video of something, and it's like something crazy, and then you have this little portion set showing your face, so kind of showing your reaction. So they see both angles of the camera. It's cool and all of that, and it has all this great photo stuff built in. And there's one key feature that I really like there's an eraser tool, so it takes multiple pictures, and then if somebody's in the background, you can kind of tap them. Like let's say somebody photobombs a picture, then you can tap them, and then it erases them. It uses the previous picture it took on that burst shot to kind of key in the background over them. There's also a mode where it can take up to 100 pictures, I think, in 4 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So it has a really fast rate, so it can kind of really get the best picture optimally and optimize your picture and all of that. So it has a lot of great things going on the camera end of it. And that's pretty much the best feature. And in my opinion, and what I've seen and from what I've heard, a lot of people are saying it's the camera. And that really, again, reminds me of that 4 to 4S jump. We saw that really upgraded camera in the 4 to 4S. And for some people, that was kind of enough to push them to upgrade. But for a lot of people, the camera didn't really interest them. And it's gonna be a big toss up, because Apple is one company that's shown that they can do this kind of TikTok schedule where they can do a small incremental upgrade and still really sell a lot on the phones, 3GS, 4S, like I said. Whether or not Samsung can do it, that's going to be something to see. Anyways, overall opinions, it's a great phone. It has decent hardware and all that. I don't know really if the users are going to be satisfied, Android users primarily. I still think the S3 is a really, really great phone. And other than the camera, I don't see much. I mean, the hardware and all that. I don't know if there's going to be much to push people to the S4. People are going to upgrade, and some people are even going as far calling it the S3S. So who knows? Love to hear your opinions, you Android users, you phone users, or is anybody upgrading to the S4? And you S3 users, do you really find that you want to upgrade to the S4? If anything, do you find these features, useful, or are they too gimmicky? What do you guys think? Love to hear your opinions on it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll be doing, again, a write-up over at digitaldojos.com. So please like the video if you enjoyed. Comment below on your opinions, and I will catch you all in the next video.